The rain was pouring like the sky itself had cracked open in grief. In the dimly lit parking lot of La Belle Étoile, the most expensive restaurant in the city, a black Maybach sat idling under the valet awning. Inside, Adrian Voss, 34 years old, billionaire CEO of Vostech, one of the youngest self-made men on the Forbes list, stared at his phone with a tight jaw. The message still glowed on the screen. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Voss. Something came up with my family. I won't be able to make it tonight. Please forgive me. Rashika." He exhaled through his nose, tossed the phone onto the leather seat beside him, and laughed once, short, bitter, humorless. Another blind date cancelled. The third this year. He was used to it. Women heard Adrian Voss and pictured red carpet galas, private jets, and a man who could buy anything except, apparently, someone who actually wanted to sit across from him for 2 hours without panicking and running. "Drive," he told his driver, voice flat. But just as the car rolled forward, the headlights swept across a small, huddled figure under the feeble glow of a street lamp at the far end of the parking lot. A young woman in a simple cream kurti, now soaked through, was crouched on the wet ground, arms wrapped around 2 little children who were crying harder than the rain. One child, a boy of maybe 6, was tugging at her dupatta, screaming, "Didi, I'm cold." The smaller one, a girl no older than 3, clung to the woman's neck, sobbing into her wet hair. Adrian's foot unconsciously pressed the intercom. Stop. He didn't know why he got out. He didn't even grab an umbrella. The rain hit him like ice-cold needles, ruining the bespoke Tom Ford suit in seconds, but he walked straight toward them. The woman looked up, startled, her kajal smudged into dark rivers down her cheeks. Even crying, even drenched, she was breathtaking, big doe eyes, trembling lips, long black hair plastered to her face. But what struck Adrian wasn't her beauty. It was the exhaustion in her shoulders, the way she tried to shield both kids with her own body even though she was shaking. I'm sorry, she stammered in Hindi first, then switched to English when she saw his face. We'll leave. I know we're not supposed to be here. The bus left and the next one is in 40 minutes and the children. Her voice cracked. The little boy started wailing again. Adrian crouched down, rain dripping from his lashes. Hey, beta, it's okay, he said softly to the boy in Hindi. No one's angry. The child blinked up at him, shocked silent that a stranger in an expensive, now ruined, suit was speaking his language. Adrian looked at the woman. You're Rashika? Her eyes widened. How? Then realization hit and fresh tears spilled. Oh no. You're Mr. Voss. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, I swear I was coming, I had the sorry and everything but then the babysitter cancelled last minute and my mother is in the hospital and, she couldn't finish. A sob tore out of her like it had been trapped for years. Adrian didn't think. He simply took off his suit jacket and draped it over her and the little girl. It swallowed all 3 of them. Come, he said quietly. Let's get out of the rain. She hesitated, clutching the children tighter. I can't, I don't. I have a car. It's warm. 10 meters away. Please. Something in his voice, the gentleness under the steel, made her nod. 2 minutes later they were all inside the Maybach. The heater was blasting. Adrian's driver, Martin, handed back 3 fluffy towels without a word. The little girl, still clinging to Rashika's neck, peeked at Adrian with huge curious eyes. The boy sat between his sister and Rashika, staring at Adrian like he was a superhero who had fallen from the sky. Rashika tried to dry the children first, hands shaking. Ariv, say thank you to uncle. And Arohi, beta, stop chewing the towel. Adrian watched her, how she smiled at them even while her own lips were blue from cold, how she whispered, Shoo, it's okay, Didi is here, like a promise she would die to keep. He cleared his throat. You said your mother is in the hospital? Rashika nodded, not meeting his eyes. Stage 3 breast cancer. Chemo started last week. The bills, she laughed once, a broken sound. The bills are why I said yes to the blind date. My friend signed me up on that app without telling me. She said the man was offering 50,000 rupees just to have dinner with him. I thought, if I could just get through 2 hours, I could pay for Ma's next cycle. Adrian felt something crack inside his chest. 50,000 rupees. He spent more than that on a single bottle of wine without blinking. And this woman, this proud, shy, beautiful woman, was ready to sell 2 hours of her dignity to save her mother. He looked at the children. Ariv's shoes had holes in both soles. Arohi's frock was patched in 3 places, but spotlessly clean. Rashika kept talking, voice small. I know it sounds disgusting. I was disgusted with myself. But I was desperate. And then the babysitter cancelled and the kids were crying and I couldn't leave them alone, so I brought them with me, thinking maybe I could leave them with the restaurant staff for 2 hours, but they said no children allowed, and then it started raining Anne. Rashika. He said her name gently, and she stopped rambling. Look at me. She did. Tears hanging on her lashes like diamonds. You don't ever have to sell your time, or anything else, to save the people you love. Not while I'm alive. Her lips parted. She shook her head. You don't even know me. I know enough. He turned to Martin. Take us to Lilavati Hospital. Oncology ward. Rashika gasped. No, please, you don't have to. I'm not doing it because I have to, Adrian said. I'm doing it because I want to. And because those two, he nodded at the kids, who were now half asleep against their Didi, warm for the first time all evening, deserve to have their mother alive. And you deserve to stop carrying the whole world alone. The car rolled into the night. That was the night everything changed. Over the next weeks, Adrian became a constant in their lives, not as the billionaire CEO, but as the man who showed up. He paid for the best oncologist in the country. He had the leaking roof of their tiny one-room flat in Dharavi fixed before Rashika even knew it was happening. He enrolled Ariv in a proper school and bought Arohi dresses that didn't need patches. But most of all, he showed up. Every single day. He sat with their mother during chemo when Rashika had to work. He learned how to braid Arohi's hair, badly, but she loved it anyway. He taught Ariv cricket in the narrow lane outside their building, laughing when the ball kept hitting Mrs. D'Souza's window. And Rashika, shy, quiet Rashika who blushed every time he looked at her, started smiling again. Real smiles. The kind that reached her eyes. One evening, 6 months later, the oncology report came back clean. No trace of cancer. Rashika stood in the hospital corridor crying happy tears, clutching the report to her chest. Adrian walked up behind her, slipped his arms around her waist, and rested his chin on her head. You did this, she whispered. No, he whispered back. You did. You never gave up. I just refused to let you do it alone. She turned in his arms, stood on tiptoe, and kissed him, soft, trembling, grateful, and full of 6 months of falling in love without meaning to. Behind them, Ariv and Arohi cheered like it was Diwali. A year later, on the same parking lot where they had met, now decorated with fairy lights and marigold garlands, Adrian got down on one knee in front of the Maybach that had once carried a heartbroken CEO and a crying caregiver out of the rain. Rashika Sharma, he said, voice thick, holding out a simple gold ring with a tiny diamond, because he knew by now she hated ostentation. I was blind long before I ever arranged that stupid date. Marry me. Let me spend the rest of my life making sure you and these 2 little monkeys never have to cry in a parking lot again. She laughed through tears, nodded so hard her dupatta slipped, and whispered, yes. Ariv and Arohi tackled them both to the ground in excitement. And somewhere up there, the sky didn't cry that night. It smiled. If this story touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that love doesn't matter how broken life feels, kindness can rewrite the ending, then please hit that like button, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more stories that prove love always finds a way. Because the world needs more parking lot miracles. See you in the next one. Stay kind. Stay hopeful. And never forget, sometimes the greatest love stories start with cancelled plans and soaking wet tears. Red Heart.